Hello, vinyl community. Hello, music community, music lovers. Um, this is a video that is more or less a response video to one that I saw today from Brandon, aka Mr. Hall of Fame. And, there's been a thread circulating around uh, of 5 bands that for some reason everybody in the VC likes, but you may not. Well, he put a twist on it, and I wanted to make a little response video to that. His video was name 5 bands that you really like that no one on the VC really ever shows. I thought that was cool. He showed a number of albums, though the thread just calls for 5. I picked out 5, but I couldn't help myself, so I picked out a few more than that. So some I will talk about at length, some I'll just show. But it lit a fire under me to make a video. So that he said something that really hit the nail on the head as far as, it's really cool that there's all these people that love all these different kinds of music that can we can agree to disagree. We can all love something. Just because you like it, I may not, or just because I like something doesn't mean you have to. But we all have a respect for one another in the vinyl community, in the music community, and that's a cool thing. So with that, in the background, we've got some Enya playing. My wife is a huge Enya fan, and I can listen to it. It's good background music. Enya, she's kind of out there as far as like some of her releases. She's created her own language that she sings some of these songs in, and it's just really out there. She got her start in a band called Clannad, or Clannad, however you wish to pronounce it. I actually had a couple of Clannad CDs before I ever knew that Enya was even in that group. So anyway, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, we got together, and the more I listened to this, I was telling her, well, that sounds like Clannad or whatever, and she was like, well, she was in Clannad. It's like, well, I didn't know that. So here's just a couple of her CDs. She has like everything, but this is just what I can grab. We're listening to Shepherd's Moons in the background. So if you can, don't do this just because I'm listening to Enya, okay? So bear with me. I've got a lot more horrible music in here that I love that you're going to hate, but that's okay. First off, a band that I really love that no one talks about in the VC is the Budos band. They are it's entirely instrumental, and they're labeled as Afro funk. I like the example that I like to use is their Black Sabbath with the horn section minus vocals. To me, especially this album, this is their 4th one. I don't have their 3rd one. Or no, I do have their 3rd one. I'm sorry. I've got their 1st one. I don't have their 2nd one. The 3rd. And then the 4th one. Hold on a second. Let me turn this down. Okay, sorry about that. Enya was getting all loud with me. But anyway, this was the first album I ever picked up by this band. And I love this. I've said it before. This is their Zeppelin 4. Great album. Very doomy kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's not jazz. Well, when I think of jazz, I think of freeform kind of stuff, but this is very close knit. This is a very tight band, and it's almost, when you listen to this, it's like you're listening to a movie soundtrack. and every song has a theme to it. You can tell what's going on through the music that you're hearing. So anyway, this is a band that doesn't get talked about much. The next one, I'll pull a stack out here, so bear with me. The next band is Still I Span. I've got some notes I wrote down just to keep up with dates and everything, so bear with me. Still I Span was formed in 1969, and they are an English folk rock band. They're along the lines of Fairport Convention, which I do see this album turn up quite a bit, especially in like the psychedelic circles, which I don't really consider this psych. This is more folk to me. And Pentangle, as far as like the type of music that it is. Now, in America, they never really hit it big, but they're in the British area, from what I've read. I don't know because I've never been there. They were a part of the British folk revival. They're considered electric folk or prog rock, and in some cases hard rock. Just about every album that they've put out contains jigs or reels or what have you, traditional English music. But I particularly like this album. This is Now We Are Six. David Bowie actually plays on one of the songs on this album, and I always thought that was cool. My second favorite of theirs is this one, Below the Salt. Sorry about the glare. I'm having lighting issues on my albums. This one, All Around My Hat, I believe this was their most popular album. I have 2 copies of it. It has like a little punch out. See how the album cover looks all wibbly wobbly? Well, the punch out allows you to view this at an angle where you can see their faces clearly. So, but yeah, the type of music this is, it's very folky, I like to call it medieval, because anything that involves lutes and fifes and things of that nature, I dig that stuff. As many of you know, I'm a big like Dungeons and Dragons guy. I love any of the that time period. I love that stuff. So, Still I Span, Hark the Village Wait, Rocket Cottage, Storm Force 10. I believe these go from, the ones that I've shown go from 73. This is Cells of Silver. This goes to 81. Yeah. And I by no means have the majority of their catalog. They have a ton of albums, but those are just the ones that I have. Next is a band that only ever put out 3 albums. And their first album, in my opinion, is one of my favorite albums of all time. If I had to put a list together of, 20 albums to grab before the house burns down, this one is going to be on my list. I've shown this one a dozen times, and no one has ever shown this that I've seen. And this is Orphan, Everyone Lives to Sing. Orphan originally got together in, I want to say 1972, and they were a duo. It's Eric Lilliquist, who is the singer-songwriter, and Dean Adrian, who's a guitarist and also vocalist. I believe Dean did a little work with John Lennon. Seems like I read that somewhere. But they harmonize really well together. And like I said, this is a great album. You can't go wrong with them. This is their debut. Came out in 1972, and there's not a bad song on it. If you can see the track list there. My favorite song by them is Fisherman, and just give that a listen sometime. Like I said, they only put out 3 albums. By the time their second album rolled around, which is called Rock and Reflection, they had teamed up with Jonathan Edwards, who was also a singer-songwriter, who's mainly known for his song Sunshine. Sunshine, go away today. Yeah, that one. Well, and Jonathan Edwards signed this copy because he toured with them quite a bit. Sometimes he would just sit in with them when they performed, or sometimes they would back him, and they crossed paths quite a bit. And by the time their third album rolled around, there was actually some songwriting credits on this one, I believe, that where Jonathan had written a few songs for them, and this was their final album. But yeah, through the years, they've opened for the Allman Brothers, the Byrds, Hot Tuna, Tom Rush, Odetta, John Lee Hooker, Nina Simone, and Velvet Underground. So, you know, that's not too shabby. But yeah, Orphan, a band that no one ever shows that I've seen. And like I said, this album right here, forget about it. Love that album. Okay, next. Dig these out here. Okay. Next is a feller that a lot of people have dislike for, mainly because people perceive him as being a dick. And no, it's not Buck Owens. But he started out in a little band called Steelard. And no, it's not Mr. Keel here. It's Yngwie J. Malmsteen. I'm a big fan of Mr. Malmsteen's music. He was also in Alcatraz for a few albums. Just amazing guitar player. This is his debut as a solo artist. Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force. Rock's most brilliant new guitarist. And I agree. You know, when I first heard him, I thought, wow, no one can play like that. It's like you got 20 fingers on him. It's like 10 fingers on each hand. I don't know. But I'm a huge fan of Malmsteen. I know occasionally someone will show Rising Force, or occasionally someone will show Trilogy, which personally, Trilogy is his best album as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people will pull this one out and say, no, it's this one, which this one's good too. No, I'm not taking anything away from it, but just an amazing guitar player. From the Paganini school of guitar playing, classically trained, and you can really hear that in the way that he plays. The arpeggio scales in his solos are just smoking. It's just so fast. Odyssey, and then this is a boot. This is Rising Force, As Above, So Below. This is a 2 LP boot that was recorded live in Japan. And for a live bootleg, it sounds really great. And there's the track list on that, if you can make that out. It's pretty much got all anything you'd want to hear from the guy. But yeah, Malmsteen, he's a badass. Okay. If you're still with me, this next artist, he gets quite a bit of hate, I think, in the VC. He doesn't get the respect that the man deserves. And that man is Meatloaf. This dude sings his ass off every night, and it's just amazeballs. Meatloaf. I've got 2 copies of his first album because I love it so much. Picture disc and Blind Before I Stop, Bad Attitude, Love is for Suckers, or no, Dead Ringer, which he does a duet with Cher on that one. Midnight of the Lost and Found. And I'm going to include this one as well. It's not a Meatloaf album, but it's a Jim Steinman album, who wrote, you know, a bulk of Meatloaf's songs back in the day. Originally, they started out as a duo, but Meatloaf, due to the record company, overshadowed Mr. Steinman. So this is an album material that Meatloaf should have sang, but Jim sang it instead. It also came with a 7-inch of a couple of songs that wouldn't fit on the album. So Meatloaf. And last but not least, man, this video is going too long. An artist that I see occasionally but doesn't get the love that he deserves. The Alan Parsons Project. Big fan of the Alan Parsons Project. Great stuff. This is Tales of Mystery and Imagination. Stories by Edgar Allan Poe. Pyramid. Eve. Stereotomy. And there's several different covers for this. They changed it up quite a bit. Vulture Culture, which that one was popular for a while. Ammonia Avenue. I'm trying to go quickly because this video is too long already. Eye in the Sky, which was a big hit. The Turn of a Friendly Card. I, Robot, which is a great album. Best of Volume 1 and Volume 2. There, I tried to get it under 20 minutes, 18 minutes, good enough. Thanks for watching. Don't hate on my video. Make one of your own. Show me 5 albums or 5 bands that you like that the VC necessarily may not, or just don't talk about as much as you think they should. So, thanks for watching. Take care. Love you guys. Keep making those videos. Love watching them. Love commenting. Love the this and that between us all. So, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.